It's still around because it has potential.
You're live.
Good morning.
I don't know if we're actually live.
It told me that we are, so you're not going to see it.
Oh,
but everything
okay.
that we're saying right now
Is
will
that
be.
little delay?
It always takes us a couple of minutes to get rolling, understand,
Yes.
get oriented, understand what we're doing.
I see us, so we're good.
Stop talking smack.
You're live. Yes, you are. All right, good. Good thing we didn't say anything we shouldn't.
So,
What's happening?
thank you for joining us this morning. I don't know what page to be on. I guess
Oh.
I'll be on YouTube. See if I can find my own video. All right, we got it. Oh, I gotta turn my sound
You
off.
do. We're going to hear ourselves.
Shh, shh, shh. Okay. Okay. Hi, everybody. I've got coffee. Kyla has
I have tea.
tea.
I'm a cheater. I have tea and gummies, not
I
chocolate.
have chocolate.
I have to represent the people who don't super love chocolate.
Shout out to Susan Crane. Thank you very much. Oh, the Sue's took care of us because the other gift package was from Sue Bingham. So I'll have that in a moment. Kyla has gummy worms.
I have gummy worms because they're open, but I have 5 pounds of gummy bears, thanks to Polly, that haven't even been opened yet.
Sometimes partnerships work out really well when you have differences.
I don't threaten your chocolate.
Because then everybody gets more of what they like.
Susan Purse, hey dorks. So we're back in dorks. That was last time, wasn't it?
Hey.
Oh, good. We have a gummy person.
So I took notes on some of the suggestions of what you guys wanted to talk about. And 2D came up a lot, which is awesome because that's, for Serafina, that's a little bit of like the less explored territory because we've done so many sculpture tutorials, but super exciting for me because I like to combine my 2D painting experience with needle felting or wet felting. So this is fun because with you guys, kind of your interest and you on board, there's this vast field for us to run around in and have a good time. So yes, more 2D stuff is coming and more 2D information, more overall, not just wool related, but 2D sort of theories and ideas. So Shannon actually posted a picture of an owl on Fanfare in the stream, and I thought that was kind of maybe a good jumping off point to talk about her picture, but I couldn't find a way to share it with the masses, so and didn't necessarily get her permission. So it's on Fanfare, and I might reference that as we talk about 2D, so because you might have some pictures that you want to work from, or a project in mind that you want to work from, or make happen. So we'll talk about 2D. We can answer any questions about upcoming things. We are working hard. Things are rolling along. And lots is coming. So as always, so we can talk about that a little bit. And then there were just some kind of specific questions about hands and feet and eyes. Patty mentioned that she loved the Fiber Fairy felt along combo, which I really like that too. And it makes it easier for us to prepare and roll out the Fiber Fairy without having to film and edit a tutorial. So the idea of fiber that creates a project that we do together is
Yeah.
a fun direction. So I'm looking forward to more of those. The 2D Ren that we've already done will become a supply pack. I'm not going to refilm the tutorial because I feel like the felt along was so successful and fun and pretty clear. And the supply pack is really the same. So in this case, the felt along will be the video that goes with the supply pack. So that's something to look forward to.
Someone said a parallel painting / 2D tutorial.
Yeah.
As far as
painting
something and
that's really fun. Like we could even do charcoal, or some kind of rendering drawing, and then the painting and then the 2D. And I have done, I did a workshop here that was fox, painting, 2D, and 3D sculpture. So that was a really fun approach to a subject matter.
You learn so much. Like when you teach that and you teach, what was I working on? I guess the flat Finley that I was trying to do.
Yeah.
I took a picture of my dog and I was trying to do it, and just things not having any kind of art background, I didn't see like the shadows and even the color and the value in the shadows that you teach about, and it just working flat and even painting really opens your eyes to then 3D sculpture. Just all of them are so interconnected.
Yeah. Kyla and Talbot have done some painting, like oil painting workshops with me. And that's so fun because I love seeing their success and growth. and Jennifer with the 2D as well. Everybody, like the amazement that I can do this, like is really,
there's
really
a lot
rewarding.
of success in 2D, especially. Like if you've done the 2D rooster and the wren and you want to consider tackling your own 2D project, it's very attainable, which is exciting.
The roosters and the wrens are blowing me away. Like I'm just like, every time they pop up in the group, I'm just like, oh my gosh. And like 80% of them are like, well, I shouldn't say it this way, but like I see ways that I can improve on my, like what I did, like for example, the wren in the photograph has its head slightly turned. Okay. And I feel like I never quite got that because it's so subtle. Okay. Like what makes its head look turned towards you, just stuff like that. And some people just did really original, like interesting things with their background. Some people, their style really comes out, like, whether it's soft or bold or linear, it's just, I love it all. So, and I love that the tutorials are like a launching point. Like I don't want to see them all the same. You know what I mean? Like, so yes, 2D is exciting.
The oil painting. We need to figure that out. I think people would really,
we have a
really
little setup over there. Sort of.
Yeah, we could do that. I feel like that's a summer.
Okay.
Like one oil painting project.
One oil painting project. This is written down in a stack of papers in a list that has my marketing, my felt along questions, and a reference for a power washer. Yeah. So I'm sure
it's going to happen. I'm sure it's going to happen.
What was I going to say? I had a thought about... this kind of leads me to our new page on our website, which is Sarah's Goods and Faves, and it is links to products that we like. So with the painting, that would probably be how I would refer supplies. And I would really try to keep it, getting set up is an initial investment. And I would really try to keep it as simple as possible. I try to paint with 6 colors. I mean, there's tons of colors and so many more ways to elaborate. But I try to minimize the palette, both to simplify the process, help you, not make it such a financial leap to get started, and also so that you learn to mix, because any color can be made with a few colors. So that would be fun. And so on this page are links to, right now it's mainly Amazon. products, but I want to see if I can partner with an art supply store to
Do like a paint pack.
yeah,
That'd be awesome.
yeah, to get you guys painting supplies. We just have
We have John's editing magic now for like the view of your palette. I know,
yeah.
we're there.
Yeah, that is exciting.
And we're that's good. There's a few feather questions. I'm seeing a few feather questions. It is on the list.
Yeah, feathers. We've been evolving the technique, the supplies involved. I've been felting to try to improve my experience with this technique that Delisa and Sabine came to us with it and said, we figured this out and we want to share it with you so that you can share it, and which is awesome. So I made, should I show them the rooster?
Yes.
And I'll show Delisa's rooster. Oh, which is...
Delisa, speaking of Delisa, just asked, have you thought about a 2.5D, which is a new idea, 2.5D, like a fox with a 3D tail.
Oh yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
cool.
So for years I have had a plan to make a fox on the wall whose head and tail are emerging. So relief is really fun. I've done it a few times in clay sculpture. It's a really fun way to go because you get to decide, you get to make even more fun decisions about what's coming off, how much, is it just the snout muzzle that's emerging, or is it like the whole head? I had shown in one of our recent live videos Malachi's things, and they were just little mounted animal portraits, and they were a pretty cool combo. So Delisa was kind enough to send her rooster to us. I'm not sure. John, do you see the table? Like if I just leave it here?
Well, which part are you?
This
I
guy.
think he's in.
Yeah, he's in right now.
Okay.
You don't quite see his feet, but
Using oh duh. I could just look at my screen and see. Using the feather technique, and when we are ready to present everything, I'm going to talk about the materials that we use and the different ways to use the technique and different techniques to make different feathers. So it looks like there's some wet felting here, and use of swax and paverpole. So it's really a exciting way to dive into combining the things that we've learned so far. And then I made a guy. I was gonna do an owl, but then I don't know. 2 springs ago, was it 2 springs ago?
It was just last year.
Last year, I was supposed to have this rooster workshop, and it unfortunately was canceled and has yet to be rescheduled. So I had this project, sort of halfway figured out. So mine does not have the incredible amount of detail that Delisa's has, but I still used similar techniques. Had so much fun putting this together, and I'm excited about future possibilities for this dude. And he's and he's, so I went off like a bantam rooster kind of look. So he's small, he's a banty in terms of things being life size, but he looks great with the little chick, and so now we have to make a hen. Well, we have to do this first, and then the list is getting longer, not shorter somehow. So there's a couple of tools involved with the feathers that we want to have in-house and available, so that when we show the technique, you're just all ready to go. So I'm hoping July?
yeah, for sure.
Maybe June.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
couple weeks.
Yeah. Any questions?
Any in-house classes this summer? We're
No,
still
not yet.
Back to the painting. Sarah works in oils, so it would be oil painting. People were asking acrylic or watercolor.
Yeah, oils. Yeah. I mean, we can branch out from there, but that's the fun one.
Thoughts about mounting or displaying 2D? That is always a good question.
That would be something that if I could really sort out a few different ways would be good.
I love the really cool piece of wood, like hook thing. Like if you want to hang it.
Cool brand. It depends on what you're looking for. Like contemporary, country, rustic,
Right. Do you want it framed?
Right. I prefer no glass. That comes up a lot.
So it doesn't squish the...
Yeah. I mean, the wool can just exist. It doesn't have to be like super protected. Just the two things that can harm it are direct sunlight and moths. You want to look out for moths. But even dust, like, I don't feel like stuff gets...
like dusty.
So dusty that it's ruined or anything. Like Malachi's pieces, they are somewhat 3D, so I just brush off the top of them a little bit. They still look great, and I've had them for several years. The
wren, the way that was cut would fit into
the wren would fit into 11 by 14. I framed one that I made. I had an old frame that belonged to my grandmother, and I actually let some locks on the bottom spill out of the bottom onto the frame, but I just sandwiched it. I can't remember if I used foam core or cardboard, but that most people don't have a frame gun.
Oh, right.
But if you take it to a framer, they will just use the tool that tacks the it goes on, it puts a staple on top of the backing and into the frame, so it holds it all tight. And I think that is enough to just hold your piece in there. You could staple it to the backing from the front, just especially at the top, just to help counterbalance the weight. But this is my 2D Fox. Like we've done where you have like a cool branch, and then you could put curtain hangers.
Yeah, like the clips.
Yeah, little clips. Or you could sew, like quilters do, fabric tube on the back so that it can hang on a dowel.
Now, all of this leaves the wool exposed, which is fine, but people are asking about a moth repellent. Someone suggested like the lavender oil in the spray bottle with water.
Yeah. I have a lavender oil. I can't remember where it came from. It's actually something we wanted to carry. Maybe that would be a good thing for Sarah's Goods and Faves.
Right, I'll write that down.
Yeah, let me see if it's handy here, because I spray my giraffe with it. Imagine that. Not sure where it is.
Maybe it's in a cubby.
Right. Oh well. Okay. We'll try to put that on the new page on the website. And then, moths really, they like the dark. So I'd say anywhere, if your stuff is stored away or if it's, I would just keep an eye on it. Like just take a look at it. 'Cause if you have one in there and, you can get rid of it and then, put it outside or put it in the freezer and then it'll be safe. But once they start they can really deteriorate something if they.
And I turned my fox and my hummingbird into large pillows. Like I have the one pillow in our one room. It doesn't really, the chair doesn't get sat on very often. It's more,
it's not like
it's more
snuggled
decorative.
down.
No, that would get really boring because the fox is in my family room and he could use a little touch up, but that worked well.
Someone asked, wet felting versus needle felting, 2D. Like why, which one? What I really like about wet felting is a couple things. It really felts the fiber together. So it makes a much more, I mean, you could needle felt until your shoulder hurts and have a well felted 2D, but wet felting really pulls it together. And if you're using silk or fur or hankies or anything that creates that when it wet felts ripples, plus the neps too, you can't really needle felt. So there's textures that happen when you wet felt a piece that I think are amazing and a part of the art. I actually prefer the combo, like to lay out and wet felt and let that magic happen with the different fibers and textures, and then to needle felt details. The reason, especially with the wren and the hare, like having these needle felting projects and the rooster, it's very approachable. It's very doable. It's not as nerve-wracking to some people as wet felting. Doesn't require the wet felting, tools and supplies.
Tools. It's relatively physical. The wet felting is. I mean, it can be.
Yeah. And with needle felting only, you really so the when to do needle felting is when you really want to control what's happening, especially with fiber that's going to be remaining unstuck. So if you're making a fluffy dog or the rooster has the locks, sometimes wet felting will mash stuff down, or it's a little less control. So it kind of depends on what your goal is, and which do you prefer. If you try both, then you'll begin to understand which one does what and why you like one or the other.
Wet felting is worth trying. It's really cool.
Yeah.
But a lot of people seem to be intimidated by it. And you do all that work laying everything out, and then you just put water all over it and start rolling it and hope for the best.
Yeah.
So it seems a little nerve-wracking, but it's worth it.
Someone asked about, is there an easier way than hands and arms? And I did a really big piece once, and I sat in a chair outside and used my feet.
Okay.
I just rolled it with my feet. There are wet felting machines. That's a little pricey for a hobby, but
would the sander work?
I've never done an entire piece with a sander. I think Joyce has.
Okay.
So that's definitely something to look into. You want it's not an orbital, it's the vibrating one. And then instead of putting sandpaper on it, I put
shelf liner?
I put shelf liner on it just so it had a little tiny bit of texture.
You could pay the teenager down the street to come.
Yeah, there you
roll
go.
It.
Just turn it the other way. 90 more. Chop chop.
Do you ever iron your 2D projects?
Mm-hmm. So so a couple of questions about 2D was the needle holes, and
there was another question in here about fiber types beyond merino. So that would be something. So that is a benefit to wet felting. No needle holes. Plus, when you're wet felting something for 3D, particularly like the giraffe, people ask the frog,
the
They're
frog
looking for the turtle.
What is awesome about wet felting, let's say an ear, for example, if your ear is black on the back or white on the back and black in the center, and then pink or all different colors, wet felting preserves all of that. You wet felt and you have those colors that you put down specifically. If you needle felt, it pollutes to each side and you can't keep your colors pure. So that is a 1 point for wet felting. Ironing, I'm jumping around a little bit. Ironing helps the needle holes. Little steam you know, a little water and ironing helps the needle holes. So does just time. Like, I don't know, sometimes I touch my things, or like, you know, you can loosen it
almost
up.
rub them out a little bit.
The clover claw tool, you know, not everybody wants to comb what they've just so carefully needle felted, but if it's fur or something a little looser or a little more abstract, you can use the rake to just gently comb stuff, and that fluffs up the needle holes a little bit. Oh, Stephanie has a gentle roller.
I saw that. Yeah. It's actually the gentle roller.
The gentle roller.
The gentle roller.
We want one of those. It's on the list. Fibers for felting. Merino maintains your richest colors, and wet felts the smoothest and the best, I would say. Then after that, all the different fibers are going to do all different things. So I can't really like explain it all in this moment, but we have several videos, wet felting videos, and you can start to see what different things do. Silk, and now we have fur, will kind of behave the same because silk doesn't felt. When the wool felts, the silk gets wrinkled. So that's a really, plus it has shine. So that's a really fun fiber to use. And, you know, locks create different textures. There's an amazing artist whose 2D wet felted stuff I really admire. Her name's Susan Mullock, I think. She creates a lot of water, forest, waterfalls, like rocks. And what I love about her work is that she uses the fiber to its best advantage. And I'm a big, like, I try not to over control things, but that's just me. Everybody has a different style.
A few questions.
Good.
Can you clip it afterwards when it's wet felted? Does it go loose again? I'm thinking anything wet felted enough, you've basically made a fabric, so you can cut.
Oh, cut it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe that's what's being asked.
Yep. There's different degrees of feltedness, so you want to make sure it's well
really
felted.
well felted.
Yeah.
Would steam help defuzzy the fuzzies on a 3D sculpture?
I don't think so. I think it's got to be steam plus pressure. You could try it. I've never tried to just steam something.
Someone uses a heat embossing gun that helps defuzz it. Use it from a distance and keep it moving.
Yeah, like that. I mean, that's just the same as using a clicker lighter. Just burn it, burn the fuzz. I always like doing that. But
we get a lot of questions about fuzz.
I get it on a face or something, you know, that you want to be really smooth. But I usually just try to embrace the fuzz because it's the medium. You know, it's part of the medium. So yeah, there's a combo. This comes up a lot. Heat. You could use a sweater trimmer. You can use tiny little scissors. You can keep stabbing with a 42 gauge. Like this combination of things. I find that when I did that mermaid face, the reverse needles, but then stabbing back in, smoothed it more for some reason. Maybe because it was just like really compacting. I need a piece of chocolate.
Steam plus massagey rubby type stuff. The very technical advice of Emma Judson. Or burn it.
Dark chocolate, raspberry. Sorry, I can't share.
Captured your indecision. Okay.
I don't think I missed any questions. Oh, there was a question about the 2D flowers. What do you use for a resist? Someone watched but couldn't quite tell what it was.
Anything that's waterproof, and
we used a thick, clear shelf liner.
Yeah, shelf liner is good. I have a few different kinds back there. I can't remember. You think it was the clear one?
I think
because
so.
I also have like a nubby off-white one, and
It's got to be solid.
just
though,
go
right?
to, a home goods store or like Walmart or Home Depot and get.
What about the
some
shelf liner
liner
that has holes in it?
I mean, I guess if they're real small, that would be okay.
Okay.
But the point of a resist is to keep the wool from felting to
Separate.
what's underneath it. So you don't want it to go
Look for
through.
solid.
and-
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you talk about dogs yet? And questions about the house carded fiber question. Do we have any more 2D before we? Is there anything else you wanted to?
Oh, so I just brought some stuff out because I knew there were a lot of 2D questions. This was kind of a fail. Kyla doesn't think it's a fail, but this was
lovely.
This was a long time ago. This was wet felted.
What's a fail?
I don't know. I don't like the composition. I don't love the colors.
Look at his face, though.
I know his face. It's gonna be okay. I could fix it. Like what? I don't know. One thing I do like in here, and this is just a general painting 2D Sarah kind of tip. Where we have shadows, I really enjoy using.
Let me hold it. so
Okay,
you
thank
can-
you. I really enjoy using deeper, different colors. So the fox is a rusty orange, brown, but in his shadows is teal, plum, maybe navy. So, and you guys will start to pick this up as we do more 2D stuff together. If you've done the hummingbird and the fox, well, all of them, like there's some blending involved because I won't just use dark brown here, and that comes from mixing colors and painting. And so in his white fluff shadow is aqua and tan, and so again, not just gray. Light and shadows have color. So not a total fail. There's some fun stuff happening.
For the
in here.
record, people like it.
Okay. It just got abandoned. That's all. This was one of my hummingbirds. This is a supply pack and a tutorial, and this has been one of the ones that's been really fun to see the choices that people made and what they did. And
How about wet felting after it's firmly needle felted?
yeah,
That would really.
yeah, that's a fun way to go that we haven't done, which is to needle
Get
felt
everything in
and then
place.
wet felt. These are a couple of my wrens. This one got run through the felting machine, so it's like real tight. And then it got steamed and ironed. And then this one is just needle felted. So you can see how hopefully it's a little more fluffy.
The color does change a little when you wet felt. Things darken a little bit. Well, as they pull together.
It does darken a little bit just because of lack of air. Yeah. All right, I'm throwing these back down there. Oh,
there
sorry,
was-
Milo. I just crushed my dog.
Question. There
I
was a
had another
question.
thought.
Does any silk wet felt easier than another? Tussa or mulberry? They just act differently.
Neither wet felt. They will behave a little differently. Mulberry is shinier and more smooth, and maybe like generally slightly longer staple length. So it's just
So they don't wet felt.
They
The
don't-
wool wet felts.
the wool
around
felts
it.
around it. Yeah. So Tussa has a little bit more texture, and this brings us to house carded,
All right.
which was a question. When we formulate the house carded bats, it's not just about color, it's about how it's going to be used. So the flowers, for example, have a higher amount of silk and merino, no core wool,
Okay.
because we're anticipating that you're going to wet felt with those colors. You can needle felt with them as well, but that's what it's designed for. The horse coat colors have merino for color and smoothness, core for consistency and feltability, and tussa silk for shine. Anticipating that they're going to be used in a direct needle felting method. So I wouldn't put mulberry silk in there because it wouldn't blend in as well. It would be, your horse would have like streaks of shine,
Right.
whereas the tussa is going to incorporate better for needle felting if you were going to blend something. The pelts were the original house carded colors, and they were made with with animal colors and pelt techniques in mind. So laying out the pelt that you then needle felt on.
Right.
They're also great as a shingling fiber if you're using fur or alpaca and you want a fiber that matches to put inside your shingle to help hold that on. The pelts are really good for that too. So yeah, each house carded section has a formula that is for both the color and the technique.
I'm seeing a couple questions about I'm not totally clear on this question. Are the details not going only darken? So when you went felt, I would suggest to Diane. Sorry. There's some questions about short fibers and long fibers, and the difference I think between wet felting and needle felting.
So core is a really short fuzzy fiber, and that makes it great for building shapes and for direct felting. So direct felting being you're making a shape or adding a color and you're just stabbing it right on. You could choose our core is very consistent in it. So whether you're making a big shape or a small shape, I feel that the fiber is very consistent. So if you're wrapping a leg, for example, you might be very comfortable with core. What I like about core for wrapping is that when you get to the bottom, it's really easy to pull off the extra. Some people have an easier time wrapping with a longer staple. And because the wool's longer, it's not as easy to pull apart. But that's a little tricky if you do need to pull some off.
Right.
So if you're going to use a top coat to wrap, you just have to be aware when you get towards the end how much wool you have left and make sure you are able to pull some off.
As far as core or shorter staple with wet felting.
It's just preference. You know, I feel like the merino is kind of middle in staple length, but it's very smooth. And like I said, it's very saturated, the colors, and they stay vibrant. So core is a little fluffier. So
Fuzzier.
my 2D Fox has core in it. It'll felt. Yeah.
Well, and maybe take a small amount of what you have and do a little experiment wet felting before you really commit to a project with it.
Yeah. Anything that you guys can do, like let's say you have a question. Any step that you can take I was talking to John about this earlier. Like what we want to do is give as much information as possible. Like, have answers available to you, have refined data information out there. But the second part of that is creating knowledge by using the information to obtain your own like awareness and hopefully mastery of so it's the information, I can say it's out there, but the more you can do, the more you're going to really understand and create your own knowledge, your own database. So just trying and don't be afraid. Like, there's creativity requires some boldness, some risk, and I have wet felted. I've laid out whole, different wet felting fibers and made a chart of what I did and then wet felted it. And then, half of them fail or didn't do what I thought. And so that's me gaining knowledge from experimenting. Sometimes people ask, well, what happens if I powder pull this or swax that? Make yourself a little piece. You don't have to compromise your entire sculpture.
Try it first.
But yeah, make something and try it. And there's a lot that I haven't done, so I don't always have the answer to, well, what if I do this and then this? And so that exploratory spirit will take you far in what you're able to do next. And
2 questions. One about Felt on Earth, the art abandonment project, and the other, someone brought up clothing. So, 2 different directions there.
Ironically, when the world needs Felt on Earth the most,
we're not
it's
leaving.
the least possible.
Right.
So, there was already, before COVID, there was already some hesitation about, people think it's
a bomb on a picnic bench.
People think my little sweet hummingbird is somehow booby trapped. So, I did really love that event and the spirit of it and the build up and the drop off and the after, so hopefully it can come back. I think there's been a few times that I've gone on walks in our local nature reserve, and I've seen people leave things. And it's not necessarily for you to take, which is what Felt on Earth was, for someone else to pick it up and take it home. But like a painted rock on a stump or something hanging in a tree. I think it's great. I think it's a great idea to just, if you've made, sleepy mice, tuck them here and there and have no expectation or agenda other than to share what you made. As far as something organized, not sure when we'll get back to it. Maybe next year.
We do have a little stack of Felt on Earth cards. Someone recently asked for some, so I think they were going to bring them. So it could be done.
It could be done without us. We have cards.
Yeah, you just need to ask for them in an order.
Yeah.
I mean, people were having more luck putting them in places that they
were familiar.
Yeah, had permission to be, whether
like
they worked in a hospital or something like that. So.
Yeah, the random public drop was a little less, a little more random.
Yeah.
So, Felt on Earth was a good time. Clothing, I have not gone to great lengths on the clothing front. We did a little bit on the witch. I'd say Lee Felting Farmer Lady probably has a little more clothing experience. We were hoping to collaborate with her on a Mrs. Claus, which would be super fun. No promises. But we have the wet felted cloak tutorial. I made clothes for Little Red Riding Hood. It was a combination of sewing and wet felting and knitting. So it's just pulling on your own skill set or a friend's. See what you could do. I don't have a ton of clothing experience.
Yeah, but you knit with toothpicks.
I did knit with toothpicks. So every once in a while I do something that I'm like, I don't know how I did that. I don't think I'll ever do that again.
Are we coming to the CNY, I'm guessing Central New York, Fiber Festival in June?
Nope.
No, we'll be hopefully filming something in June. Here's a question. I want to make a large armature, the wolf mother. Would I double the size of the original wolf?
Armature. So this is a good thing where your experimentation, well, it won't only help you, but if you share it, it'll help a lot of people. I have never made an armature by just doubling another armature. It sounds right.
You would think
2 times as big is really big. So if you think about it, my wolf is about 8 inches at the shoulder. Now you're going to 16. Like, that's huge, first of all. The other problem with it, if it's a mama and baby, the proportions are a little bit different. So you don't want to, a baby isn't just a miniature, a smaller version. It has slightly different proportions. Its nose is going to be shorter. Its legs might be longer. So that's a couple of things to think about. And then the way that you build the armature, the bigger you go, is important. So definitely more wires. You're going to have to twist several together and have more support wires. When you go big, my advice is, if you can, draw what you want to do to the scale that you would like to do it. So if you're making a bigger wolf, you're going to need a 14 by 17 piece of paper, sketch it out, draw the armature inside, measure that, and then that's where you start to figure out your wire lengths. So you measure the head, neck, and front leg, double that. That's your wire number 1.
And give yourself a little extra.
Always give yourself extra. And then second half of this advice is twist several wires together to create a stronger wire. And use more than you think.
Someone said, when I make an armature, why does the right shoulder always come up shorter?
Yeah. Yep. Our evenness in the way we build something. I was just at the hairdresser, and she's like, every hairdresser has a spot that they don't get as well because of the way we hold our hands. So the way that I work with something I know is lopsided. I know I'm very left oriented, being left-handed, and my legs are always uneven. When you twist your shoulders, just be aware that you're twisting them the same direction. You want to go internal to the sculpture and also the same number of times. And make sure that both wires are doing the twisting and not just one. So...
Question about the fiber art bundles, some ideas of how to use them.
Yeah, there's a blog called, What Can't You Do with a Fiber Art Bundle? So I took a fiber art bundle. I 2D felted, 3D felted, I spun, so I made yarn, all from the same fiber art bundle. I think the fiber art bundles really lend themselves to wet felting because of the mix of materials.
What's in there? So there's silk, mohair.
Silk, mohair, short staple merino, and a variety of locks. And it's meant to give you, that fun color and texture. So are you able to link the, it's in my blog.
Sure.
Kyla is going to hopefully put a link in the comments. It's been a while now. I haven't spun in years, so it's been a while. I don't know if you can search the blog.
I think I can. There was a question. Could you give any tips on storing large amounts of fiber? Oh, cloaks. People are brainstorming in the comments. Cloaks are great.
Yeah, cloaks are great because you can wet felt. And then what's cool about them is the way that they're dyed, there's going to be, different sort of color patches. So you can isolate them, you could blend them together. You can leave them sort of in a myriad of, I don't know how to say it, all mixed up. But then you've got your locks, so then you can put the locks on the edge. I think a fiber art bundle is great for a mermaid. The mermaid is in felt-along form if anybody wants to.
Somebody did ask about the mermaid, and I keep cutting you off.
That's
the
right.
Mermaid and something else. I've had a few questions about felt-alongs going on to the SD cards because the people who can't access the internet have trouble with the tutorials, but also the felt-along. So John, we may have to look at that. The trick is their YouTubes, like we don't have them filmed because they were live,
Right.
so we don't have that footage. So mental note, we'll have to
And the felt-alongs
talk
are...
about getting
Right.
the footage off of YouTube.
The felt-alongs...
He goes, okay.
I mean, most of our felt-alongs have a tutorial. So there's a few exceptions.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, the witch is on there.
the witch and the mermaid are probably... yeah, I wouldn't make that a promise.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how to get them. I don't know that we can.
Yeah. Storing large amounts of fiber...
I linked the blog, so it's in there.
Oh, good. Thank you. I'm not the best storage person.
Sarah has a shop.
I have help. Definitely keep it, sealed up. You're not going to hurt the wool by, smushing it, putting it in a bag, but you want it sealed up from moths.
Yeah, you don't.
And
just
you
want it
can
out.
throw lavender or cedar or anything in there. As far as organizing, it's so tricky because it's like, do you do it by color or by texture or by use? I think I would tend to put my core together. And then if you have the option, break it down further by color. Same thing with the top coats. I would maybe have, right.
Locks in a box.
Yeah. Locks, fur. I don't know.
Any new Paverpole ideas? And someone saying, have you used on a coat of fabric to try to waterproof anything?
No.
I don't know what that is.
I don't. I have not. I'm not familiar with it. I haven't used Paverpole in a while. There might be a little bit of... I have used Paverpole. That's not true. The feathers were can have a little Paverpole.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't go to it very often because I'm more often keeping my things soft or or not.
There I've seen some questions about the dogs, the hounds,
Okay.
and also a few Fiber Fairy questions.
Okay, we can talk about dogs. I did want to just address Mary Jane asked about why her eyes are alien eyes. I don't know exactly, except that it's really important that the initial eye be a sphere, be round. As soon as it's oblong, it's going to start to look alien-y. Even though our eyes are almond, that's because of our lids. So really, like, make the eyeball round. Even if you don't have room for a whole sphere, make what you're attaching a circle. And then you have control over the expression and the shape by the way you put the lids. So that's, my advice from a distance. Someone asked about one-on-one time. I really enjoyed that last year. Like, I really loved that. I think it's super, it's a really saturated way to ask your questions and get help and talk about what you want to do and what your goals are. I'm hoping to make some time to do that this summer and to figure out how to do it. I was using a scheduling format that we don't have anymore. So, so that would be fun to do again. It was a great COVID activity for me because I was here alone a lot and it was just a great way to meet you guys and have that one-on-one time. I do really like it. So I would like to figure it out.
Have we done any seed bead or embroidery embellishment on a 3D sculpture?
I haven't, but a lot of dragon people have.
Oh, dragons.
Yeah.
Mermaids too would be super
Yeah,
cool.
mermaids would be fun. So
we do have the
what was that called? We did have a fiber fairy with bead embellishments. So there's a little bit of that. We do have an in-house beater.
under the mini tutorials on the tutorial series page. There is a wet felted, pre-felt, beaded embellishments, which the tips that she shows on there would work for 2D or 3D.
So we do have an FFF on Friday, the 21st. Say something. I've got
What?
a mouthful of
Oh.
chocolate.
I'm reading questions. People are liking the brown hair. Also, someone asked for a 2D brown hair. Which...
I did a 2D brown hair that I love that I want to make into a tutorial. So,
Fiber Fairy.
Fiber Fairy.
We're not telling you what it is.
I'm not going to tell you what it is.
Friday.
Except it's a different theme than we've done. So I'm excited about that, and it involves a little participation, a little challenge participation. So it's not a huge one. You know, I know people are, you know, the sale is going to be in July and it's summertime, and but we did just want to engage and offer something. So yeah, but it's an interesting one. And if anyone has any Fiber Fairy questions about how it works, feel free to ask those, because we can always help with that. I thought I saw something. Oh, the hounds. I would, yeah. That's kind of cover two things at the same time. We have been working on the certification program, and that's been our big push this last couple of months. So I'm not going to promise a date, but our goal was the end of May. Then we need to figure out the application process and when to schedule that and how that can work. But it might be, you know, I doubt we're going to be sending you guys the information June 1st, but you know, that's how close we're getting. Really excited about that. And it's a little bit of a slow reveal in terms of what's involved, but it's really for people who are interested in teaching and you know, making some form of income from teaching. So, and I can tell them they need to be a level 4, right?
Yes, yes.
So it's you know, the who applies is it's not going to be everybody, but it's not going to be for everybody, but good. It's going to be a good system, I think. So I'm really excited about that. So that has been our focus. So that's why there has not been a new Felting University. But in the meantime, we are busting out these little, you know, like the Wren, and we have some stuff coming up next month. And the hounds are waiting on me to form the course and create the supplemental reference material, and we have to film it and edit it and everything just takes time.
Yeah, that has.
But the hounds are meant to be, you know, we have the wolf. I think the hounds will be in addition to the dog knowledge. That is the kind of thing that there's so much that we want to do. We even need to like redo some old things. There's so many more animals. I've got a moose started, a kangaroo. People want the turtle, you know, the female figure.
Someone
like
just said a
the
cow.
yeah. A Highland cow would be so fun. So I'm not going to spend time making different breeds of dogs. But the hound is meant to give a lot of information regarding dogs. It's actually, the project is the hound, but the information is is dogs in general. So we're going to cover, you know, different fur types and characteristics and stuff like that. So that'll be fun.
Somebody asked what the Fiber Fairy was.
What it's going to be?
I believe what is Fiber Fairy.
Oh, what is the Fiber Fairy? So the Fiber Fairy is a giveaway that we started way back. We wanted to share goodness of like some special fiber that we got, and that was back in the day when we would maybe sell like 20 25. But now it's become a little more involved, and we prepare tiers for a giveaway with purchase. So we might have 4 tiers, and if you spend, you know, $25, you get the first, 45, 65, 85. But those numbers change all the time. Everyone is different. The fiber is always different. The tiers are different. And then it might have a theme or a project. The last one we did had fiber to go with a live tutorial that we did 3 weeks later. That was really fun. So it's always changing. There are, on the website, there's a calendar, and that's where you can see when the next Fiber Fairy is coming. And there is a tutorial explaining the Fiber Fairy and how to participate. It used to involve only Facebook, but now we are also sending a newsletter. So I advise signing up for the newsletter, subscribing to the YouTube channel, definitely checking out the calendar. If you're a Facebook user, join Serafina Felting Fanfare and follow Serafina Fiber Art. Those are our channels. That's how we can reach you. And we try to utilize those different avenues wisely. We get a lot of questions in the group of, I can't find this, or where is this? Almost everything we do is either linked or posted about on our Facebook page, which is Serafina Fiber Art on Facebook. That's a public page, and that's where everyone can see the important dates, information, links, new products, etc. So, and then the newsletter is kind of a backup to, or those two things overlap. So you want to be sure to get those things. I don't subscribe to many YouTube channels, so I don't totally know what happens, but I think when you subscribe to a channel, you might get, depending on how your
some kind of notification.
your settings are, you would get what?
Hit the bell.
Hit the bell.
Yeah, tell them to hit the bell.
What?
Hit
What's
the
that
bell.
mean?
The
That's
bell
how you
turns
get-
on your
you get notified
notifications.
every time you subscribe and hit the bell.
Oh, subscribe and hit the bell, John says. I'm like, what's happening?
Somebody wants to make a life-size llama. How can I do the belly? The belly's just part of your challenge with with a life-size llama.
Oh, a life-size llama. I wasn't getting all
That's
that.
what I think I'm reading.
Yeah, that's beyond my
That's
scope.
massive.
You're in uncharted territory. You might need to build a wooden. It might not move. You know what I mean? Like you might need a wooden frame,
Right.
like almost like you're making like a step stool or like a.
Wire's not going to hold that thing
No,
up.
no. Yeah, you get to a certain size and wire is not doing it. Yeah.
There is a question about...
I'm eating.
Sorry.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just preparing you.
All right, that's good. I will reach out to our Woolly Pines ladies. There's some questions about the wreath kits, so I'll email them. And Kyla, tell us how you turned your 2D into pillows. So I bought a coordinating nice kind of
I can finish my
fuzzy,
chocolate.
nice kind of fuzzy-ish, more of an upholstery fabric for the one side of it. And what did I do? The first time I stitched the bottom, and then Sarah suggested doing like the overlap flap. So I made 2 flaps with like turn the edge over and turn the edge over so that you could do a pre-sized pillow form if there was one. I stuffed it with fill, is on the inside of it. So I made 2 overlapping flaps, and then on the other side I put them face together, and I don't even like sew really. I just sewed around with the sewing machine, and stuffed it.
Yeah.
So it is open. You could tie it somehow
Yeah.
if you
I
were
would
good
use-
and knew how to
I
like
would use a
button.
pillow form, like just because you can pull it out and
Right.
yeah.
If there's that size for, I mean, the 2D
Yeah.
hummingbird is its own size, so you would need,
There's pretty much there's like
Every
20,
size pillow
22,
form.
24, yeah.
so yeah, I had Phil in a bag in my closet and I stuffed it. Like I said, nobody sits in that chair, so it just sits there and looks pretty.
I wish I were more of a sewer because there's so much
All I can
overlap.
do, yeah, all I can do is sew square, but it worked. Somebody did ask about, is the shop open to the public? That is an oft asked question. And we don't know when the shop is going to be a shop open to the public, which feels like a terrible answer to give. However, we're doing so much in this space right now that
Yeah, and people are welcome to make an appointment and stop by. But it's just we just don't have a shop to shop in.
Yeah, the way that we had all the fibers set up and the different locks available and all the kits and tools and everything on display in the shop space, we don't have that anymore. We're spread out with tables, and there's a lot of video equipment and a new machine. So the shop, as it was, is not initially started because people weren't going to be coming in, and we wanted, inventory to keep flowing. We didn't want fiber to just sit here for a year or whatever. So everything is down in the shipping area. As far as placing an order, it's best to do that online. You could come pick it up. And if you wanted to come in and see things, it needs to be an appointment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not sure when, the shop and or in-person workshops are going to start again. Someone asked about, Jean had several questions. We talked about the fiber art bundles. She asked about the raven pelt and skin tones. So raven's fun. Raven was made, black is tough for sculpture and painting. And so raven was made in an effort to have a little bit more of a dynamic black. So it contains some teal and some purple and some navy. So that's what it's for, is like let's say you were making a raven and it's one of the pelt colors. So it would have a little bit of light in color bouncing around instead of just straight black. So needle felting is interesting in that way because you are creating a sculpture and a 3D, and you're counting on the light and shadows from the fact that it's 3D, but you can also change color in the fiber to accentuate light and shadow. And then the skin tones, I usually use core. The whole face thing is evolving. I want to try to make skin pre-felt so that it might really change how I do faces. But as it is right now, I use core pretty much to make the egg, and then I switch to skin tone when I start making my smaller shapes.
The skin is really creepy. The thought of the skin.
Yeah, the thought of the skin's creepy, but it's going to be awesome. So, let's see. What else did I miss? Oh, Camille asked the best fiber for curls, or like she had put a picture of a poodle. So I assume that's what you were asking about. But I kind of find like it with the lamb. Okay, so the problem with poodles is they are colors that sheep usually are not. So it's like very black, almost black, apricot, white. You have better luck with white. And then there's all different colors. But so you have to find the right texture of locks and then it has to be the right color. So we don't, we get a lot of emails like, I want to make this dog. We don't always have the right fiber sitting on the shelf. But I really like in the lamb tutorial, we took Border Leicester locks, and if you could find a nice little lock and tease it up, and then when you stab it a little bit kind of willy-nilly, it creates that curly look. Even though it's not technically curls attached at one end and loose on the other, it gives you that billowy curly look. I do it on a cloak too.
Okay.
I can't remember which one. But so to create the fur trim on a cloak, I would do the same thing. I would tease the locks apart and then stab them, not, but like kind of come at different angles to encourage that curly look. So that's the way that I would approach that. But then finding the color is the other. Mm-hmm. What you got there?
I'm just looking. Someone asked about the moose moss and the rhino wrinkles because she loves the teeny tiny.
Yeah.
So I was looking to see what they were. So it is BFL, but is it BFL lamb?
Moss is BFL. I don't know that it's always lamb.
Okay.
I don't know. Which is an awesome little crimpy, curly lock. And then the rhino wrinkles are Montadale, which would generally be probably, I don't even know that they're necessarily a fiber sheep.
Okay.
But yeah, would probably be more like carded. It's really springy. And it's fun in the wet felted rhino skin because it's creating that leathery, wrinkly texture. And you can kind of like pull it apart and it makes like a web. It's really neat.
So we don't regularly carry the teeny tiny curls, but if you're looking, BFL, in particular, BFL lamb locks are so fun.
We always recommend Lee. She likes to get a nice variety of curls. So that's
feltingfarmerlady.com.
yeah.
Have you used a 3-needle felting machine? I'm thinking like the Adequic.
Yeah, I've never used a felting machine. I don't think it really goes with my technique. I haven't really been interested or curious about it. I'm not going to knock it because I haven't tried it, but I like to work where I can control the depth that I stab, and I think that doesn't go very far. They don't go very far. Okay. And then also like the idea of the electronic,
well, there's a sound and everything.
Yeah.
Now, if you have a harder time gripping, or for any kind of physical reasons, would need something, I think it could help.
That's true. It could help if this bothers your wrist or your elbow or
any kind of issue.
I think there was there was the Adequic, but I haven't heard very much about it lately. Yeah. I don't know what's happening on that front. For a while there, a few years ago, you were seeing all about it, and now I haven't seen a post about it in a long time.
Someone saw a wet felting tutorial for making curls from any color of merino, where you wind it around a pencil or a spindle.
It's a lot of work.
If somebody super needs a certain color for their golden doodle, and you could make your own curls.
And how does it stay that way?
Does it stay
like
that
think
way?
about your own hair, and when you're like trying to control it,
doesn't curl,
or like the curl drops out, or the humidity brings it, or like it's the same way with straightening wool. Like, does it
it's
stay
gonna want to
that
curl,
way?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just yeah.
Eyelashes, like on the donkey, are they black Surrey locks?
Black Surrey, black top coat, black merino, anything that it's so small. I mean, just not core. It just needs to be smooth and a little bit long. Yeah.
How the heck do you separate the layers of hankies? I'm making such a mess and it's making me nuts. Yeah, the hankies are, you keep going. It's like, and then it's all spider webby, and if you have a problem with that, it's a little creepy.
Have your snips next to you so that if there is a string, just cut it. But
you can get really thin.
Yeah, you can get really thin. Just try not to pull it apart. Try to pull it off of the other one.
So hold one down. Like hold the bulk of it down. Peel one and then hold the rest down and try to pull it off. Yeah. And if your hands are in any way rough, the silk will let you know.
Yeah, maybe some latex gloves if your hands are rough. I don't know.
A little lotion.
But then if you have gloves on, it would be hard to get the edge apart.
Can you wet felt a lock that's fuzzed out to make it solid and pretty again?
I mean, if a lock has lost its structure,
how are you getting all that back?
Yeah,
together? I would think wet felting it would just make it like a.
I don't know if she means wet felt or just add water to smooth it back out. I don't know the answer to that question, but
if it's all fuzzed out and pulled apart,
I don't think so. I think you want to. So when you get locks, if your intention is to keep the lock structure whole, you want to work from the end and get the end and hold it and
hold the pretty part
and hold the pretty part and pull that off, rather than you don't want to start like
just pulling it all apart,
because it will undo the lock structure. Yeah.
Silk tells me when I've got to exfoliate. And static. Static is not really. There could be a whole thing on silk.
Let me look at my list. How much to stab is always a question. That is preference. There's preference, and then there's also, my advice is you've got to stab enough for it to hold its structure and be well shaped and adhered and sculpted. For me, that line between that but then not stabbing the life out of it is, I usually use the bagel reference, or like if you squeeze your forearm. But some parts of the animal, like if I'm making a bone, then I will make that harder. So there's the animal has different levels of softness to it. Like the belly might be softer, or if there's fur, obviously that's loose and soft. And then the face might be have more firmness because I'm stabbing much more to get all the details and features and stuff. So but it is, some people want something almost to be immobile. Some people want it to be so well stabbed that there's not a loose hair. So it's just a matter of preference. My things I like for them to have movement and be posable. That's important to me. So I tend to keep things maybe a little looser.
White whiskers, yes. Horsehair, we sell horsehair in light brown, dark, and salt and pepper, I want to say. So the salt and pepper is nice. You get some white, you get some dark.
Yeah.
I have a video forming in my brain of all the things that people struggle with, like separating hankies and locks. And
this is our struggle
it could
video.
Be funny, the struggle video.
Oh gosh. But it's fun. This is stuff we all get to overcome.
Have you done a squirrel with a total wire? Just the chipmunk. Not a squirrel.
I've made squirrels long ago, but I don't have a tutorial for them. Susan asked about 2D hen and chick to go with the rooster, which would be really fun. So lots of great ideas. Lots of motivation. Not enough time.
Somebody got fur instead of Surrey in the camel, because that's where we are now. They're not sure how to make it work, which it should be
worked the same way.
As far as
use a staple, or
as far as how to staple it in.
So the fiber situation is always changing. It's not a fixed thing. It can depend on the sheep. It can depend on our vendor. It can depend on what we've decided to, we made a huge switch last year in a lot of our fiber, but I can't refilm every tutorial. So there are some changes in supply packs. We try really hard to make an even substitution or an even better substitution. We switched fur for Surrey, and there's a tiny bit in the camel, tiny bit in the donkey. The bunny puff is the big one. We switched fur for Angora. The lion, we switched fur for Surrey. So, and that makes our supply packs now cleaner, more consistent, more affordable. The fur, there's a big advantage to the consistency and the consistency of availability as well. So there will be changes along the way, but it's part of the medium.
Yeah, and the fur is long. The staple length is, the Surrey should have also been pretty long in there, but the fur staple length is.
Yeah, the fur is long. If it's coming out longer than you want on your camel hump, I would just felt more of it down farther, so that less of it is exposed. Or you can cut it and restack it. That might get a little too short.
Okay.
But yeah. Yeah, the Surrey alpaca is great. It's the most hair-like.
Well, it's the weight is good. Like
The weight is good. It hangs. It has a tip. It's just that it was hard for us to get clean, consistent,
the right color,
the right color,
the right length.
yeah. So it's always a little bit of a trade-off. Although I do love the lion that's made with fur. So he's made with fur.
And he's got, I mean, that has a sheen.
The mic's gonna be in front of him.
Aw.
Is the mic in the... Oh, yeah, it is.
Has it been the whole time?
Yeah, just a little. That's what we did for the fiber fairy one too.
I know. It's so funny how oblivious I am to what the heck I'm looking at. So I used camel, Irish, and mink, I think. I don't think I went straight black. So that's the other thing is with the fur, you have a lot of control over color because not only are there, I think, 10 colors, you can blend them. So...
It's nice to see people chatting on here and sharing ideas.
Good. Nice.
People are saving their cat whiskers that fall out.
I have never found a cat whisker.
That's the conversation that's happening.
I don't know. And I have 5. I don't know where they are. I don't know how you're finding them.
Somebody has
the lions are one of
whisker dish.
Lions are one of my favorite things to make. A whisker dish, even.
Yes, Trisha, you have to make a lion.
Everybody needs to make a lion.
Everybody needs to
and
make
a dragon.
lion.
And a wolf. Wolf is another really fun one. I love my wolf. I'm really amazed at the brown hairs. That's been really fun to see the success with that.
Somebody said they could have used a little more corbel in the brown hair pack.
Okay.
So I'm curious.
Yeah. Okay.
My camel head is too long. Looks like a dragon. What do?
You smush things around.
Smush things around.
Fold it. I mean, it just depends on how far.
Yeah, how
along
far you are in the project.
All right. Are we winding down? Any more questions before we say?
I think. Sorry if I missed anyone's question. What are you laughing at, John? What?
I just looked outside and I was like, "Where's the sun?" It's so gray out.
Yeah, no, it's supposed to be nice.
John always sees my expressions. I was sitting here watching one of the certification videos.
Okay.
And he was there and I'm here and he just starts laughing and I'm like, he's like, your face when you watch your video. I'm like I'm taking it all in. I'm like, oh, I look like crap. Okay, that's good. Oh. So anyway, yes, I can't play poker. Or I could and you could take all my money. That's what it comes down to.
I think my favorite story about John is him seeing your text over the camera when
we had the overhead camera and I was starting to create a text and John's like, "Are you adding her to the group chat?" I'm like, how do you know what I'm doing?
Because he's got a camera overhead. It's so funny.
I gotta be careful.
Yes, you need to be careful. There's always someone watching. Is the fur of the lion's body the same thing as the Appaloosa horse fur? So his body is tawny, right?
Appaloosa horse fur.
Well, the horse coat. I'm guessing.
I don't have an Appaloosa. Oh,
okay.
I just saw myself on video.
Wait, We don't have that. We have palomino.
Maybe she means palomino. I think this is tawny. It's whatever's in the line.
Yeah, I thought it was tawny.
Tawny. It's a mix of things. Autumn gold.
Oh my gosh. Don't you play poker a lot? Poke. I like it. I like it, Sue Bingham. Because you're a poker.
Oh. Okay, so we want to make tawny. We want to make gold. Endless ways to do it. We've got autumn gold, chestnut, butterscotch, all the merinos.
Caramel.
What's
core?
caramel?
Our core.
Oh yeah, our new core. Wheat. Yeah. Fur. So.
Smush. Trisha said smush is a great... Oh, I was saying scrunch.
Yeah.
We were talking about silk. Smush is a good word. I like scrunch,
I say smush
too.
a lot.
Palomino. They meant palomino.
Yeah.
John sees everything, Sarah.
It's
Hang
not
on,
going to
there's
stop
quite a
me
bit.
from
You got nothing to hide.
being a little weird and bad.
Someone said I missed this, but what are you getting certified for?
Oh, you're getting certified to be a Serafina instructor to teach workshops.
That's the certification program.
That's the certification program.
Getting
Good
ready-ish to launch.
Just-
I mean, we're getting ready. but
Just
we're-
the logo is worth it.
That's true. It is true.
So excited. Just the t-shirt is worth it. We
Melissa,
gotta get on the t-shirts.
we do. Melissa has never felted before. What's the best project to start with? Never felted.
Ooh, this is so exciting.
Best first project. I love.
I have a few opinions.
hedgies. Love the
Hedgies.
hedgies. What else?
Goldfish,
Oh, the goldfish.
elves.
The goldfish are definitely taught like you are new.
Goldfish is great.
The bunny puffs you taught very for beginners.
Right. And all of the wrapping ones, the sleepies, they're beginner, but it does rely a little bit on your wrapping technique.
Yeah.
So people have success, but I'd say the goldfish is like, and the hedgies.
Bunny puff. We just
Bunny
refilmed
puff.
that one.
Bunny
for-
puff's a pretty
for
big
newbies.
project for a beginner. The goldfish is super affordable. Like it's a lot of goldfish for, I think, is it $18? It's the supply pack is one of
Yeah, it's
the less
big.
expensive ones. So that's fun. Welcome. Make sure you have needles and a felting surface.
Smush goes in, scrunch goes together. This is true. Smush, scrunch,
Yeah.
right?
I like to smush. Well, it means a lot of things.
Does the logo have professional stabber on it?
Oh,
It's
interesting.
even better.
It's even better.
Some
Yeah. We should write that down though.
professional stabber. License to stab.
Oh, that's good.
That is good. The weird license to stab.
It needs context, though.
That's the best part about it. Is the lack
John's
of
like, don't mess
context.
up my YouTube video with random violence. Yeah.
The weird
Good
and
stuff.
bad.
We do want to get a new t-shirt out for everybody, so those are some fun suggestions.
Is the new logo going to be the new t-shirt? Or are we
Yeah.
looking at the t-shirt? Or is that only for certified? What's happening
Well, oh, that's true. The new logo was going to be maybe the new t-shirt. And then
Right.
instructors get that on the back.
there? Instructor.
Yeah.
Sue Bingham said the weird and bad is what we love about you.
Good. Good. It's all part of the package.
I have one little thing
Uh-huh.
to include in our highlights. Can you really briefly say what air felting is and why you shouldn't do it?
Oh, air felting.
Where did that come from, John?
I just saw some people doing it.
No,
Okay.
no air felting. We have to stop the air felting in the world.
If you've ever participated in one of my workshops, I try to be so like, there's always more than one way, and like, but there's a few things that I don't want to happen in my presence. One of them is air felting, and the reason is So this is like for the beginners. You're getting started.
Where's all your needles?
They're all over there.
Here, I got it. I got you.
Okay. And now I know some people work almost entirely this way, but if you're developing habits, the reason that I like to have something against a felting surface is, first of all, when you stab, the needles go. Can you see that, John? They go all the way through very easily. And so if it's in your hand, you can get involved and stab at an angle that comes right towards your hand, and now you're bleeding. All right, so that is really a big reason. The other reason is, so they kind of smush together, the two reasons. If you're holding something in the air and you stab, it's just gonna move out of the way. It's like if you're trying to hammer a board and you're trying to hammer a nail at the top of the board, but you're just holding the bottom of the board and it's not resting against anyone. Your stab has no impact. So then what do? You move your hand there to hold it, and then now you're bleeding again. So those are my why not to air stab.
No air stabbing
reasons. You get, when your project is against a surface, it's way more effective. Your needle is getting the opportunity to do what it's supposed to do.
There's a lot of talk about cross needles on the logo.
Oh yeah. Cross
That's kind of like our new needle packaging.
Yeah.
Which was our tattoo, but we removed the drop of blood to make it friendlier on the needle packaging.
Someone said real blood on the line.
Came for the art, stayed for the weird.
Yay!
I like it.
That should be a motto. I'm writing that one down. The weird, the dorks.
We are way cooler than all of that. I don't know where all this is coming from.
What is the lack of poker face called? Like, what's the word for that?
I think open book.
Open book.
I'm sure there's a poker term for it that I'm not aware of.
Does it make you not cool
Readable.
to say you're cool?
Yes.
Okay.
Why? were you getting ready to?
I was saying we're cooler than weird.
Oh, but then that makes us not cool. That's like giving yourself your own nickname. You can't do that.
That's true.
It doesn't work.
That is true.
You can't be like, call me Jonesy.
That's Matthew's
you have a
nickname.
Jonesy.
I do have
Yeah.
a Jonesy. No idea where it came from either. His name's Matthew. All right,
everyone.
Deadpan.
We
Deadpan.
Deadpan is poker face.
Yes.
I'm the opposite.
Oh, the opposite of poker face. Oh, derpy. I do like the word derpy.
We use derpy.
That's a good one too.
One of our cats is derp.
My DNA is in everything I've made. That really could be your business tagline. That would be.
It's true though. I've pretty much all the fiber you guys get I've smelled. I'm just kidding.
You don't smell all of it.
Smell all of it. But it smells so good. So, yeah, we've covered a lot of random things. We jumped all over the place, but it's been really fun. And I will see you again on Friday. And we do have kind of a specific idea for the talk and the theme of the Fiber Fairy.
Yes.
So we're looking forward to that. So yeah, bring your dorky selves and your questions, and that'll be our next visit, which is only a
in
week
one
away.
week.
Yeah.
All right, we have some people confessing to smelling the wool.
Oh yeah, totally.
There's a lot of excitement about the smelling. Olfactory.
there's so much to this craft. I just, oh, and if I haven't publicly thanked you for your stories.
Oh, so good.
So many good stories. And I tried to get back to everyone, but if I didn't know that I read it and appreciated it, and always looking for more, we used seraphinafiberart@gmail.com if you want to send me your felting story. You know, either how you got started or you know, anything, what you're getting from it or what you like about it. We hope to share the stories
I had a whole idea.
far
about
and
that.
wide.
I had a whole idea about that.
About what? That's
All
what,
the stories.
that's what I'm asking you.
I
What?
know. Oh, we'll talk about it off camera.
Okay. So yeah, because there are so many, and especially over the past year, you know, we've all felt extra. We felt,
Pun.
yes, we felt a lot of things on the inside, and that led to a lot of this kind of felt, and yeah, it's been intense. So thank you for sharing. And you know, most people I email back, I ask permission, but I'm gonna say I would like you to share with the idea that I can share further, just with a first name, or you know, but yeah, or if you want to share without me sharing, just say so in your email. Just to say, this is for you only, Sarah. And then when I talk about it, I'll try to have a poker face.
And we know how that's going to go.
So, all right. Well, thank you all very much for joining us this morning. I had a good time and I needed it. And I look forward to bringing all of the things that we talk about to fruition. I know there's a lot of stuff hanging out there, but it's a journey, and I'm having fun sharing the path with you guys and seeing what we see along the way. So it'll come to be, because it's what we're doing. It's what we want to do. So
It's so nice to see everyone. Jackie just said we are a felting family.
definitely.
We totally are. It's so nice.
John, you ready?
John's on it.
You guys ready to go?
Bye.
We are ready to go.